Good morning. I'm happy to be with you today. My name is Barbara Jones. I am the Create Better Health Ambassador for Emery County. I work for USU Extension. And today I want to talk about one new way that I hope you'll be able to use it. We're going to make peanut butter pancakes, and they are so easy. Into this bowl, I have measured 1 cup of baking mix. Now it can be pancake mix, it can be Bisquick, it can be your homemade baking mix or what's called the Utah baking mix. If you'd like any kind of a baking mix, just measure 1 cup. This handy little measuring cup, I love it, holds exactly 2 tablespoons. So I'm putting in 2 tablespoons of sugar. And you're going to put that in a smaller bowl. Then blend it up just enough to stir the sugar into the baking mix. Then in another bowl, and I've chosen this one to be the larger one, I'm going to crack 1 egg and scramble it a little bit. Into this egg, I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup of peanut butter. Now, I don't really think it's going to matter in this recipe if you use chunky peanut butter or smooth. So 1/3 of a cup of peanut butter, either kind you choose, depending on what kind you've received in your box, I guess is more like it. If you have problems getting the peanut butter maybe out of your measuring cup, and I didn't think to do this right this time, either run the measuring cup in hot water or spray it with a little pan spray, and that will just loosen anything that's sticky, honey, peanut butter, shortening anything right out of there. Then whisk that together. And into that, I'm going to add 5 ounces of evaporated milk. And sometimes I know that if you have received a box, you know that sometimes you will find different kinds of milk in there, and sometimes it is evaporated milk. 5 ounces are the little short cans. There are 12 ounces in a tall can of evaporated milk, so judge it accordingly. I just measured that with a measuring cup. And then 4 ounces, remember, would be a 1/2 cup. And then put another 2 tablespoons in to come up with the right amount. So blend this together. You have the milk, the peanut butter, and the egg in here. Now simply add your baking mix and the sugar. Then stir this until, now I hope I have the peanut butter really pretty well combined and mixed, and the baking mix will mix as well. Now I'm not mixing this with a mixer of any kind because you don't want it to be beat to death, just until it's all incorporated in there together. And this smells absolutely divine. Okay, now I want to just share one little secret with you that I was really very old before I learned. Do you know that after you have the batter mixed for any kind of waffles or pancakes, if you'll just let it sit for just a few minutes, you know how you've always heard you always have to throw the first pancake away? You don't have to if you let it sit. That lets the gluten develop and makes it so when it's ready to cook, it's ready to cook. So as that has just a minute to develop, I want to tell you a little bit about peanut butter. Peanut butter sometimes gets a bad fat rap, and a lot of people will say peanut butter is not good for you. However, peanut butter is good for you. Peanut butter has all 3 of the macronutrients. It has carbohydrates, it has fat, and it has protein. Now, if you look on the back, this container has 14 servings of 2 tablespoons. And it has 7 grams of protein just in those 2 tablespoons. As you think about it, 7 grams of protein is a lot. Peanut butter is an excellent thing that you can have for a light lunch. And if you will receive peanut butter in your boxes of protein a lot of times. Sometimes it would be salmon, sometimes it would be tuna. Canned beans would count as a protein, but peanut butter is always a good protein, I think, because of the sweetness of it. And peanut butter has a lot of magnesium. Peanut butter has a lot of vitamins. Peanut butter has a lot of minerals. Peanut butter has a lot of fiber. Peanut butter is good for weight loss because it makes you feel fuller for longer. Peanut butter is said to lower your cholesterol. It can help, so they say, fight type 2 diabetes. There are a lot of health benefits of this. The fat in the peanut butter is the good fat. So don't hesitate to eat peanut butter. And there are different ways that you can eat it. Peanut butter is a good thing to help you get in some of the other components of a balanced diet, fruits and vegetables into your diet. You'll see right here I have some celery. Now I love raw celery. Into this is just a Ziploc sandwich bag because I have a hard time putting peanut butter in celery with a knife because I'm not coordinated enough maybe to keep it neatly off my fingers. You can put peanut butter in the bag and then just simply squirt it onto the celery or whatever you happen to be putting it on. And look at how nicely that goes on there without getting the peanut butter up the sides of the celery or wherever it's going to be. Now this would be an excellent part of a lunch, an excellent part of a snack. This could be a wonderful snack. And it looks very appetizing, I believe. I would also just put some into a small cup if you're going to have peanut butter maybe as a dip for something. You can just squirt in the amount of peanut butter that you think you might like for your cause right there. To help this one, I believe that peanut butter and apples go together very, very well. And as a complete lunch, especially if you just need a light lunch, I think you might want to have some sliced apples. Now this is a very large apple, so for one serving you wouldn't necessarily need to have the full apple if you didn't feel like you could eat that much of it. You could definitely just have just the half of an apple and then save the other half for another time. Now remember, I've just put that in the bag, snipped off the very end. You can do the same thing with frosting. If you don't want to make a mess out of a piping bag, you could always do it that way. So that would give you 2 ideas that maybe you could have as a snack or as a light lunch. You might want to have the apples, the peanut butters, maybe some whole wheat crackers. Okay, back to our pancakes. Now this batter is thick. You'll need to add about 1/3 of a cup of water to it. And I added at this point. You can add it at the first when you put the milk in if you want to. It's entirely up to you. Okay, I'm going to make this today in an electric skillet. I don't know if your old enough to receive a commodity box, you're old enough to probably have done a lot of cooking in one of these electric skillets that were very, very popular about the time I was married 50 years ago. But they're still very much in use today. We use ours a lot at the Extension office. So I have sprayed this pan with cooking spray, which of course is going to save you many calories above what putting oil in the bottom would. Okay, into this medium hot skillet, I'm going to place about 1/4 of a cup of batter. I'm not going to do it with a measuring cup because I have this fabulous little ladle. And I am going to cook 4 of them. Maybe you know that a serving size for pancakes or waffles, according to the USDA guidelines, 1 pancake would be about the size of a CD, music CD that you would play. And if you have maybe never made pancakes, I think most of you probably have, look for bubbles to form on the top surface. If you look closely at this, you can see that they're just barely starting to form. When they start to form and then they start to kind of break, then you will turn it over to the other side. You have to remember too, with these electric skillets, the hottest part of this skillet will be right in the middle, and that's just right where there is not a pancake. Okay, see how golden brown we're starting to get here. Okay, turn it over, and then it'll need to cook on the other side for maybe a minute and a half. These pancakes, sometimes in your commodity box, you're going to receive applesauce. Applesauce would be divine on top of these. I have mixed 1/4 of a cup of butter, which is 1/2 square. And if you're going to do this, it's a lot better if you use real butter instead of margarine. Mix 1/4 of a cup of butter, mix 2 tablespoons of honey, mix it together, and you have honey butter. Because the peanut butter is sweet, you're only going to want just a very small amount of butter. Okay, this will make 8 to 10 pancakes. Okay, I have mixed 2 tablespoons of honey with 1/2 square of butter. You will not need usually to make more than 1 recipe of that, because this is just 1 recipe, and that's plenty enough for all of these here. Excellent if you have just that little bit of honey butter on there. That's just a tiny bit of liquid. Top it with some fresh banana, and you have a nutritious breakfast, nutritious lunch, nutritious dinner, whatever you want to have, using your peanut butter from your commodity box. I hope that you have gained a new perspective on peanut butter and maybe thought of some new ways that you might be able to use it. Peanut butter is very, very good for you, inexpensive protein, and it's fun to eat. Find new ways to use old products. Don't let these products go to waste. They are commodities. They're commodities from the government who are just trying to keep you healthy and happy. Please call Extension office if we can help you with any further ideas. Check with your local food pantry to get the application for senior boxes and to see if you meet the criteria and guidelines. Thank you for watching us today.